All you survivors out there. It's me, Prepper Zan, reporting from Houston, Texas. Today is Saturday, February the 27th. um, yes, it's early in the morning. Today, you guys, I would like to talk about, what I'm trying to do is go through every single aspect that Houstonians and Texans are going through and have gone through, from bursting pipes in our homes, from having to basically live in your car for some days, um, every 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 different every different thing. But today, I'd like to talk about: are your vehicles prepared if you have a vehicle? And if you don't have a vehicle, are you? What are your methods? What are your plans, or of getting out of the city, or being able to stay warm, like what most of us Houstonians and Texans had to do during the Texas winter storm, to stay warm and to keep our families warm? So I just want to talk briefly about that, and hope and pray that you guys would start being prepared in that area, or making plans, you know, to prepare yourselves as far as your transportation is concerned. Being mobile is very important as a prepper, having the chance of mobility. And I've heard other preppers say this. Some of us who live in these types of areas where, we don't have access to a mass public transportation system like they do in New York, like they do in Atlanta. I know Atlanta, they have the MARTA. I lived in Atlanta before. They have the MARTA, but the MARTA, unfortunately, that's a train. It doesn't go all throughout the city like it does in New York and in Chicago. Chicago and New York have mass transit systems, whether it be by the bus, whether it be by a train. There's so many different ways of getting around. But even in those particular places, with those types of big cities, and something like what we have and are experiencing here, and you got to get away, you still need some type of form of transportation, whether it be, if you're a cyclist and you know how to cycle fast enough to get yourself, if you're a single person. But if you're a family, you need a car, a van, a truck, or if you're a single person, whether it be a motorcycle or a moped. Being mobile is very, very, very important. And if we did not have cars here, a lot of us, we wouldn't have survived. We just wouldn't have survived. And the upkeep and the maintenance on these cars, it's a lot of money. We know being a prepper, it's time consuming, because you have to go out there, you have to find the supplies you need. First of all, and most of all, you have to have the money to be able to purchase these things. That's a challenge for a lot of people. So, with having a vehicle, oh wow. But I've been in these crises here in Houston for a very long time, and I'm ready to close the chapter on this part of my life and move on and move forward to something else. I know that you're not going to go places and not have problems. That life comes with problems. It's how we deal with those problems. You can either succumb to the problem and complain about it, or you could keep going and do something about it. In this case with Texas and Houston, I'm ready to move forward, and I'm ready to relocate where I don't have these same problems with weather, hurricanes, natural disasters, floods. And not only that, the system in Texas with the people who are running things, I mean, they're just so irresponsible. And they don't take any accountability or responsibility for their actions. And they justify doing the things that they do. That's one thing, you guys. Another thing that we have got to be aware of when we live in certain cities, in certain states, in certain counties. The laws that abide in these places. A lot of us don't find out, unfortunately, until something drastic occurs, like what we're going through here in Texas. We did not know that ERCOT had been in trouble before. We didn't know that they were a nonprofit. And most of all, we didn't know that they were that irresponsible and making decisions where you totally turn off the energy for millions and millions of people and don't publicly inform them. You don't issue out a warning, and then they justify their actions. Oh, well, I wouldn't have done it no other way. They had to go in front of the Capitol in Austin, Texas. That's our capital, just like Washington, D.C. is the capital for all of Americans. The capital for Texas is Austin. ERCOT had to face the judges and all those people at the Capitol. And do you know the CEO of ERCOT, who's responsible for the grids all over Texas, defended his actions by saying, I wouldn't have done it another way. Never did he apologize. He said, well, yeah, where some lives were lost, but we saved the grid. And they're so insensitive. How dare you? People lost their lives. People lost their children. People lost their animals. People lost their crops. People lost their transportation. And then another thing about it, I know I be going from, I try to stick to one subject, y'all, but it's just so much. And if you guys will listen, pay attention, take notes, take mental notes, take physical notes, you will learn from it and you will be prepared. So when these things happen in your area, and I'm not saying when, because I hoping it that it happens to you, because this is the life we living in, and this is the world we living in, and these people want a lot of us dead. And I say it just the way I mean it, and I say just the way I feel it. So you guys will be prepared. Now, FEMA, another thing about these disasters that I notice, if you don't have insurance, when these things hit, if you don't have insurance on your car, if you don't have insurance on your home, you out of there. You don't even qualify to get any assistance. A lot of these poor people in this city and in Texas, they can't get anything. Not even with a lot of this fundraising these people are doing. They don't qualify because they didn't have insurance. I know that because I went through this years ago, as I told you, when I was a single mother, taking care of my daughter. And one of those hurricanes, I did not have car insurance. Because at the time, to be honest, I really wasn't driving my car much, but I did have the car because of the insurance. And I was like, I can't afford this insurance. And when that storm hit and my car was destroyed, they told me I didn't qualify because I didn't have insurance. Ever since then, I keep insurance. And that's one of the qualifications on the FEMA website right now for the Texas winter storm. They're telling people, if so many people lost all their food, people lost so much. And they're telling people, oh, we're not going to replace your food. We're not going to replace this. If you don't have home insurance, you don't qualify. If you don't have car, you don't qualify. They just tell you straight out the bat. So they know that takes out a major percentage of people who are in dire need of help. So let's go back to making sure your transportation is up to par, and making sure if you don't have some form of transportation, you try to go get that. And if you don't have the money to do it now, put away savings for that. You know, save just for that particular purpose, whether it be a bicycle. Y'all, a lot of New Yorkers don't even have cars. They just have bicycles. And if they had to get out the city, they know routes to take in order to get out the city on their bicycles. And they ride their bicycles every single day. So they're in shape to do that. And this is another reason why I tell you guys, be in shape. I don't know why the prepping community don't emphasize this enough. You can have all these different things. You can have guns, you can have generators, you can have ample enough food, water, and all that. But if you are not in shape, you're still in trouble. So we're going to go through it. A lot of our cars froze here in Texas. So a lot of people didn't have car covers. A lot of people didn't have their cars in garages. A lot of people didn't have their cars under carports. And even if your car was still outside, it had a chance of freezing. My car stopped on me a couple of days after the freeze, the car that I was using, well, the battery, it didn't stop on me. I went to, I believe it was Walmart. That's when I recorded what was going on there. And I went back to the car. It wouldn't even crank. And it sounded like a battery issue. I know a lot of different things about cars. I used to sell cars. So I said, okay, that's the battery. Unfortunately, I have a portable battery charger. And I have a portable battery charger because if you don't have cables, you know, the type of cables where you hook the positive and negative to somebody else's battery and you hook the positive and negative to your battery to get that boost and that charge. If you don't have cables, you're in trouble. So I was in the parking lot. I'm asking, oh, can somebody give me a boost? Can somebody give me a boost? A lot of people were willing to help me, but unfortunately, they didn't even have cables. I don't know why us people with cars, I'm talking about myself, because I take responsibility for my actions. And the reason why I do that, because that's going to help me to prevent from going through the same thing again. So that was my fault. I know better than be riding around in the car without cables, battery cables, you know? So luckily, the lady, she said, oh, well, they have some in the Walmart. I said, she's right. Let me go in the Walmart. Get in the Walmart. Being that we were going through a freeze here, a lot of people couldn't get to work. So I couldn't hardly get any help. You have all these people in the Walmart as far as consumers are concerned, and you don't have a lot of the staff. So I'm sitting up there waiting because they had the cables in like a lockbox. You know, like some of those things you don't have access to in the stores, the things that cost a lot of money. They have a key. It's a key where somebody have to come and open it up with the key. I was all around that store. So I asked some people, they said, oh, sorry, we just got here. Or sorry, I'm on break. I'm telling you, it was crazy. So I went and luckily found a manager, and he called people and they finally came. So that was like 30, 45 minutes waiting for that. I'm telling you guys, because when and if these things occur in your city, I'm telling you, the city basically shuts down. I think for 2 days straight, Texans didn't have access until the ice started melting on the roads. Didn't have access to nothing. People couldn't even get to work. So it was just that serious. So somebody finally came and opened it. I remember a lady saying before, she said, listen, she told me where to go and find the battery cables. And she said, listen, if you can't find them, I live down the street. I'll come back with my cables, because she didn't have hers in the car. She said, I'll come back with my cables and I'll give you a boost. Everybody was trying to help each other here in Houston. In Texas alone, we really stick together when it's a crisis. So I said, okay, thank you so much. So I got the cables, and I went outside. I couldn't find anybody. But inside there was this guy. And he said, oh, okay, you having that problem right now? I said, yes, sir, I am. He said, well, they have the cables where you don't need anybody to help you. You can just charge it through your charger, you know, like where you put your phone charger in. What is that? The lighter, you know, the thing that causes, I guess you guys, I hope you know what I'm talking about. It's early. But the lighter thing in the car, you could take it out, and the same thing, place where we put our car chargers, you know, that's where you could put this, and it would charge the battery, it would charge the cables, and then you can go and charge your cables yourself, which is a better option opposed to having to ask people. So I bought both of them because I was like, okay, if I can't find anybody in the parking lot, then I'll just charge this. And it's crazy because I have the type of portable battery charger at that time at my house or in the storage unit where you can charge it from home. You just plug it up, and then once the light is green, it's fully charged. And then if something like that happens, you just go put it on the positive, negative on your battery, and then it charges and you gone. So anyway, I'm in the parking lot, and so an angel came right before I got there, and he said, pop the trunk. That's what he told my daughter. Pop the hood. She popped the hood, and I was like, well, who is that? She said, I don't know. So I'm assuming it's the lady's husband or something, or a brother who came. So make sure you have battery cables. That's first and foremost. Please, this is a very important point. You don't want to be stranded. You do not want to be stranded. Make sure that your alternator is good. Because I know I've had an alternator problem. You know, alternators, they don't really cost that much money, and it doesn't cost a lot to pay a mechanic. But you guys, I also learned you could learn how to take off an alternator and put on an alternator yourself. I started learning how to do it myself. I saw my neighbor do it to one of my cars when I was selling cars, and I was like, that's easy. So a lot of these things we pay for, we can learn how to do on our own. Make sure you know how to change an alternator, or make sure that you have a warranty on your alternator, or you get a new alternator if you have a bad running alternator. You do not want to be stuck out in situations, especially if you only have one source of transportation as a vehicle. The other thing, us Texans, we're not used to that type of weather, so a lot of us didn't even have the right kind of tires. So make sure you guys have all around purpose tires that will accommodate that type of weather, that accommodate the heat, that accommodate if God forbid you roll over a nail or a glass or something like that. These things, keeping the maintenance up in your cars, I know it's costly. But if you could do a little bit at a time, that'll help you and prevent you from going through a lot of things that these people went through. Always keep a full tank of gas. And if you have a place where you can properly store gas, get you some extra gas, because that was a major issue. People had to be in their cars, but if they didn't have gas, they were in trouble. A lot of people died like that. That's the severity of it, because it takes gas to run cars unless you have a Tesla. And if you have a Tesla, make sure you keep it charged. And we're going to the gas stations. A lot of the gas stations were not open. I already had a full tank of gas. I think I had only used like a fourth of it. Not even a whole fourth. But when you guys saw me reporting from a gas station, I don't even know if I did footage. I was going to the gas to put gas in one of my gas containers and also fill it back up. So before the storm even happened, I had gas in both of my vehicles. Both of them. Tank was filled full. And I know to do that because in Houston, things happen. And you have to either get out the city or you have to depend on your vehicle to, give you heat or whatever. So also make sure that tank stay full at all times. I wrote some notes about it. So I said, if we learned anything from this situation that occurred and it's still ongoing here in Texas, especially here in Houston, as preppers are, you may have to live in your vehicle. Keep a full gas tank. Keep plenty of non-perishables in your car. This is another valid point. You guys, keep food in your keep food in your car. Keep food in your car. And if you have to have a can opener, so I'm pretty sure it's either food that won't perish. Most of my food, non-perishable or canned goods, most of them. So you have a way of being able to open up those canned goods, because you could get stranded in that car, or you may have to live in that car, and you need to be able to eat. Also, keep a lot of water. When you guys saw me going to get water, it wasn't because I was like right there in dire need of water, because I needed more water. I have animals, plants. I keep so much water in my car. People who know me, they call me Pack Rat Zan because I'm a prepper. I keep so much water in my car. And at the time, I have to be honest, I didn't have as much bottled water in my house as I usually have, but I have a couple of 55-gallon barrels that I kept, I stored water in. So we wasn't like in that much, but I keep a lot of bottled water because you guys know. And we have the water purifier on our sinks, on like one or two of them, not on all of them, like not on the bathtub, not in the bathroom sink, but like in the kitchen, because I keep that type of water system, and I keep a lot of bottled water because I don't use tap. I don't cook with it. I don't brush my teeth with it. I don't wash my face with it. I don't drink it. I don't play that. Tap water is the worst thing. It has the most germs, diseases in it. It has mucus, and it has, parasites. You guys would be surprised what's in that tap water. So these things will really help you to further prepare. Make sure the maintenance is kept up in your vehicle. Make sure you have an oil change. That's another thing that people do with their vehicles. They just ride around. Don't never get an oil change. Y'all, this could burn your motor. If this burn up your motor, you have problems. If you have a head gasket problem, That's a motor. That's in a motor. Or a motor problem, you in trouble. That stuff costs thousands of dollars to repair or to replace. When all you really have to do is get an oil change, what I think is every 3 to 6 months. I just had one. The other day I got another oil change on one of my vehicles. You have to get this done. You can't just keep on driving those cars and not having oil change. Also, keep motor oil in your car, because those stores were closed, those gas stations were closed, didn't have anything. People were looking for oil fluid. I'm like, they were looking for transmission fluid. They were looking for all these things that really should have been in their cars. And I hope this information is helpful. Um, Make sure you've had an oil change, tires are up to par, and everything is working correctly in your car. Because when the lights went out, it was dark on the road, and we were the only ones on the road. You guys saw the footage of that. If the tires would have gone flat or anything, we would have been in trouble. Sometimes you might have to leave the area that's in crisis, and if you're living in your car, which was the only way out, or if you're leaving in your car, which was the only way out during the crisis because all other forms of transportation had completely shut down, you want to make sure you have everything that you need in your vehicle. So I've already went over the car supplies, the battery charger, the cables, the extra tire. Extra tire. Make sure you have an extra tire. If your car goes flat and you don't have an extra tire, you're in trouble. If you don't have the tools to fix that tire, learn how to fix a tire. Learn how to change your tire. These things are simple. I had to learn them because you may not get help. You might not can call at that time. You couldn't call anybody to come help you. Nobody was on the road. Nobody was willing to take the chance, and you can't blame them. So make sure you have insurance. Make sure you have a phone and laptop chargers. I have phone and laptop chargers in my car. Plenty of oil, transmission fluid. We just went over that. Keep plenty of water in your car. We went over that. Keep plenty of canned goods and non-perishables in your car. Keep a bottle of Tylenol or ibuprofen in your car. That's another thing. If you start suffering migraines or any types of pain, make sure you have some type of medication or some type of form, whether it be CBD oil. A lot of people use that, hemp oil, something, to keep you from not being in pain and to keep you also calm and relaxed. So yeah, you guys have, I love when other experienced preppers leave comments in the section about other things that I may have missed, because I'm still learning. So if I've missed anything, that's a good point that other people or myself can learn from. You guys, let's talk about it in the comment section. What are you doing to keep the maintenance up in your car? Do you keep your tank full of gas? Do you change your tires every 3 to 4 months or 6 months? Do you have insurance on your car? Do you have the cables? Let's talk about it in the comment section, y'all. Not all of us have these things, and that's okay. We're teaching others, and others are teaching us what we need to do to further be prepared in a crisis like this. Now, let's talk. I'm going to talk about the state of the city, and I'm about to be out. It's Saturday. Have a lot to do. You guys know I've been packing up, trying to get out the city. It's a lot. It's a lot. Houston. There's still people in Houston without clean water. There's still people in Houston without water. I'm going to be posting these videos. And I hope you guys pay attention to these videos. I'm not doing it just because, she's just being a Debbie Downer. She just want to keep This is serious and this is real. And you know what? Before it hits you, you will know what to do. This is why I post all these videos. When the local news come on, I'm getting footage of that, because what they talk about in the local news here in Texas, y'all not even hearing about it. They're not telling y'all how a lot of these nursing homes don't have water. They're not telling you how a lot of these hospitals still don't have clean water, still don't have lights. That's why I said it was a setup. And that's why I say it's criminal, because they're intentionally trying to kill people. That doesn't make any sense. 2 weeks later, people still don't have clean water. People still don't have water. People still don't have lights. And most of the people in the poor neighborhoods are their sick people. And that disgusts me. It's just truly disgusting. You don't do the less fortunate like that. You have a bad karma coming on you when you do that to people. See, I'm a karma person, and I believe what you put out, you're going to get back. And if us Texans continue to be around these evil people, even us as Americans, and when that wrath come upon them, it's going to come upon us and our children as well. This is why I tell you guys, prepare your children so they'll be knowledgeable of the days and times that we're living in, and the people who run this country, the people that run these cities and states, the people that run this world. Oh, they something evil. They something evil. Now, Pfizer's supposed to be coming out up with a third dose. Didn't I tell you that they were going to continue to do this stuff? I told you guys they were going to continue to do it. You know why? They're making so much money. So they said, oh, no. FDA said, no, hold on, wait a minute. The CDC said, no. CDC, no. What we need a third dose for? They're having problems getting the first and second dose out to people. Now here they come, they want to give people a third dose. You guys, you stay healthy. You stay working out and stay keeping your mind sane. I was able to talk to a therapist yesterday. It was a crisis hotline, which I'll post in another video. I'm sorry, you guys, I don't have that information because I wrote it down to give to you. It's a number where you can call, and it's free. If you're going through crisis in your mind, if you're going through so much on you, and you don't have anybody to talk to about it, you can call this number. And let me find that number. It's important to be able to talk about it. It's important to be able to talk about what you're going through. You guys, you don't know. After I had a phone call with these people, I felt so much better. I felt so much better. It's like I unloaded so much. Being able to talk to you guys about it is good. But you just don't want to, as a person and individual, unload all your thoughts of what you're going through on other people, because people are going through stuff themselves. You don't want to pile your mess and your and stuff and that's affecting your mind on other people when everybody's going through so much. So the emotional distress hotline phone number is 342-6892. That's 1-866-342-6892. If you are a Texan, if you are a Houstonian, I have a lot of people in Houston and Texas following me. You guys, call the hotline. That don't mean you crazy. I hate when people think someone's crazy because they're going to see a therapist or a psychiatrist or they doing something like this. Call the hotline, talk about it. Everything is confidential. They're not going to go and tell you people your business and all that. I would suggest that you guys do what you think is best for you. That was good for me. I have a therapist. I can see my therapist. I can talk to my therapist until next Friday. So I needed to unload because that whole situation, it was terrible, and it's still terrible. And I feel good and I feel better being able to talk about it. So yeah, let's talk about it in the comment section. What are you doing in your transportation? What forms of transportation do you have? Some of y'all are blessed to have a Ford 150 hybrid truck that has that built-in generator. Talk about it. Let's come up with different ways and solutions that we can help each other in crisis and times like this. And you guys, and I always say in every video, I do have prep and supplies on zanharrow.com. You do not have to get it from me, but make sure you go out there and you get what you need. Stay blessed and not stressed. Until next time, till we meet again, zanharrow.com.